Before we get started, let me say congratulations to you. Yep, to you. And I'll explain that in a second. The notion that bigger is better is deeply ingrained in our American culture and really permeates through almost all aspects of our society, shaping our attitudes towards consumption, success, and identity. The challenge is that this feeds a mindset that's associated with grandiosity and excess as markers of achievement and success. The emphasis on bigger is better is evident in the proliferation of supersized portions, oversized vehicles, and McMansions. The concept of more is more, bigger is better, simply prevails and drives many to seek these larger quantities and sizes as symbols of prosperity and satisfaction. For many, this becomes a bottomless pit, resulting in an insatiable appetite for material goods and unsustainable patterns of consumption. The good news is, as stackers of gold and silver, you typically don't succumb to these kind of issues. You've learned the real value of a dollar and that it's converting that dollar into real money in the form of silver and gold. Every day you're making all the decisions you can to free up all the dollars you can for the sake of acquiring more metals. Not to be extravagant or to live some over-the-top lifestyle. You know that success and wealth are in the number of ounces you own. You also know that one of the areas where bigger is definitely better is when it comes to your gold and silver stack. In order to explain the one thing that will absolutely change your stacking and your returns, I kind of have to start by identifying the things that are getting in the way. We've talked about the reality that most investors buy high and sell low. Next, we need to address the buying gold and silver is not just about trading fiat paper for precious metals. Here's where I disagree with most people, or maybe most people disagree with me, but gold and silver are absolutely 100% an investment and not savings. You might treat it like a savings vehicle, but it's still an investment. While I understand what people mean, it's still flawed logic to me and problematic. Here's a simple example. If you bought silver at $32 or $35 in 2021, do you still feel like you're saving, or do you feel like you've been losing money? By definition, saving is about putting your money aside in order to accumulate a certain amount. Built into this is the idea that the amount of your savings doesn't go down, at least not nominally. Though you may be able to buy less and less because of inflation, the reality is you put $35 in the bank, a year later you absolutely expect to at least have $35, not $23. When it comes to stacking gold and silver, unless you're a collector, this is absolutely a game of ounces and not which particular coin is better to stack. Let me be clear. The best coin to stack is the coin that allows you to get the most metal for your dollars as possible. I've done videos about this where I've painfully gone through the numbers and the process of showing you the math of the buy-sell spread. Another person who actually does an excellent job at this is actually Silver Seeker. The spread between what you pay in premium and what you get back when you sell 90% of the time favors buying the lowest premium coin that you can find. Not to mention, the $2 or $3 that you save per coin quickly adds up. Let's say you buy a tube of 20 coins. That saving adds up to about $40 to $60, which could buy you an additional 2 or 3 ounces. That's 2 or 3 more ounces appreciating value, not sitting dead in a premium. Plus, you essentially got them for free for buying generics instead. So for every 100 ounces, that's an extra 10 to 15 ounces added to your stack, which is an extra $500 to $750 of pure profit if you sold your silver at $50 silver. If you haven't guessed it by now, the one thing that you can do instantly to make your stack bigger is to stop thinking like an anti-fiat gold and silver stacker and start thinking like an investor. An investor makes these decisions based on the facts and the data, not on how pretty the coin is. Stop caring or buying based on which coin you like the most. Buy based on what's going to get you the most ounces for your money. Even if you're leaving it to your loved ones, don't you want them to have as many ounces as possible? Let's not forget, this is silver that we're talking about. They're going to tarnish and get ugly as hell anyway. Successful investors invest with their minds, not their eyes or their emotions. You can't control what the price of silver does, but you can control how efficiently you convert your fiat dollars into silver and gold. This matters because your gold and silver stack is one of the few places where bigger is actually better. Let me give you a parallel example. If you were buying a share of Apple and you had to pay a broker fee, would you go to the broker with the best looking website and the easiest looking client interface, but they charge you a 30% trading fee? Or would you go with a broker with a basic website who only charges you a 15% trading fee? It's a no-brainer, right? You would simply say, why am I going to pay extra for the exact same share of Apple? So why would you pay more for an Eagle, Maple, or Kangaroo over a generic? Because after all, folks, silver is silver, but a lot of you do that. I first started stacking in 2008, and let me tell you, I have the boringest stack ever. Almost all of my high premium coins were purchased after I started this channel because no one really wants to look at my collection of Buffaloes or JM Bullion or APMEX anniversary coins. I want to encourage you to spend less time making eye love to your coins and focus on the objective, which is buying metals, getting as much metal as you can for your dollars. Average investors get themselves in trouble because they invest with their eyes and not their minds. They like to buy coins like this Queen's Beast and get pissed when the LCS offers $1 or $2 over spot when you spent $9 to buy it. Average investors wait for the price to go up and then buy. They are too afraid to buy silver at 22, but they'll buy it hand over fist at $35. Price is what you pay, value is what you receive. Here's another example of how I think and act like an investor. I wanted to buy shares of Franco-Nevada stock, but at $130 to $140, I didn't feel like it was a great value. And there were other companies that I could look into that gave me a better value for my investment. However, when the situation with First Quantum happened and the stock dropped 30 to 40% over something that is only contributing about 15% to Franco's bottom line, all of a sudden Franco became an undervalued asset at that price of $105. So I started buying because the overreaction created an opportunity. I did the exact same thing with Global Atomic and the coup in Niger. I waited for things to settle down a little bit. I bought at the bottom and now I'm up 112% because investors think and do everything with their facts and data as a part of the decision making, not your emotions, not things that make you feel good or because you really like a coin. Stacking with an investor's mentality is not done solely with your eyes. It requires analysis and research, emotional intelligence, decision-making skills, understanding human behavior, market psychology, and risk management. These are all topics we cover on this channel. It's also why we always talk about behavioral finance. I want you to be successful. I want you to buy low and sell high, unlike most investors. And I want you to always get the most metals for your dollars because stacking is not a beauty contest. It's a game of ounces. And yes, in this instance, bigger is better. And with the emerging bull market, this is the time when you want to actually load up and get as many ounces as possible because your premium just sits in the coin and it does nothing. But if you could get those generics, save a few bucks, and use those savings to get you more ounces, you will exponentially increase your wealth. And that is extremely important. I want you to start by committing to treating your stacking efforts like an investment. Start looking at your stacking with your mind and not your eyes, because those pretty little designs will trick you into buying them. Of course, you can buy some of those high premium coins or whatever, but do the math before you part with your dollars. You owe it to yourself and your stack to think more like an investor and acquire as much as you can. In the comments, what was the highest premium coin you purchased? What was it and how much did you pay over spot? Would you buy that coin again today? Or simply put an A+ in the comments so everyone knows that you always stack smarter and never stop learning. Okay, this ends the educational content for today's video, but up next I have a very interesting interview with Tom Basoli, CEO of ATHA Energy, stock ticker SASKF. These guys and gals have almost literally come out of nowhere and scooped up 2 explorers of 92E and Latitude Energy. Because of that, they now have several projects along the early part of the Lausanne curve with around $65 million in the bank. Oh, and did I mention they now control over 7 million acres of land? Are you kidding me? In full disclosure, this is a paid interview or commercial, but after looking into ATHA, it is a stock I do plan to buy. That's not financial advice, so don't go out and liquidate little Tommy's college fund. They are an explorer, so we know what comes with that is more risk. Leadership with roots that go back to chemical and next gen. They already have pounds in the ground. They also have a 10% carried interest on some key prospective exploration grounds owned and operated by next gen and ISO Energy. And they only have a market cap of around $120 million-ish. I could strike out on this one, but I don't know if I can live with myself if this company takes off and I didn't at least throw a little bit of money at it. Okay, enough of me yapping. Let's check out this interview and make decisions for yourself because you have to own your own results. With that, let me welcome Troy Wasy to the channel. Welcome, Troy.
Yeah, hey, thanks. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you today.
Before we jump into our conversation about ATHA, could you share your outlook on where we are in the uranium market?
Yeah, I think we're early, and that sounds like a bit of a counterintuitive statement, maybe at $105 uranium to say we're early, but I truly believe that because the cycle we're going into right now is fundamentally a demand story. It is foundationally a supply demand story. I know you have the physical funds that have been participating that people say it maybe accelerated a bit, and I think that's true, but underlying that, it is fundamentally a supply demand story, and there simply is not enough supply that has been identified to meet the demand that is growing moving forward. And so it's pretty foundational. It's pretty fundamental from that perspective. Okay, and with uranium production, uranium assets, you can't turn on material production in the course of months. It takes a long time, and there has been a lack of investment in the space over the last decade plus. And so I think it's early days, and I think it's early days from an investment perspective as well. When we talk to, when we're marketing, when we're talking to institutions, there's certainly uranium focused funds that have been right along with the technical guys for forever in the story. Resource funds starting to take a view and pay attention to uranium. Generalists just starting to build a thematic view and a thesis. Okay, and so you look at where are we at from that perspective. I think we're still early as well.
Okay, let me not bury the lead. ATHA recently announced a triple merger with 92E and Latitude Uranium, which absolutely caught everyone flat-footed. If that wasn't enough, you concurrently completed a $23 million capital raise, and this company has just started trading in April of 2023. You have to tell me how in the world you pulled all of this off so quickly.
It happened quickly. It happened quickly, and the reason it happened quickly, I think, is because that's how our company was envisioned. It was designed, it was built in a way to be able to grow rapidly and grow significantly through three different pillars or platforms. Okay, investment in our largest in the largest exploration package in the Athabasca Basin. Pre-acquisition, pre-proposed acquisition, we had 3.4 million acres of exploration property. So that was the platform. Then we also had and still have exposure to NextGen Energy's exploration portfolio and ISOenergy's exploration portfolio through a carried interest. And in addition to that, then the other opportunity for growth was looking at mergers and acquisitions. And that's exactly where we got to in December. But the reason we were able to do that is one, we built a platform that was structured in a way that we could leverage that in order to make acquisitions. But two, we have a highly experienced team on both the capital market side and the technical side. I have a background in uranium. So does our managing director, Doug Ingdahl, another guy that has 20 plus years. And Doug Adams, our vice president of exploration, has worked for Cameco, Orano, Denison, etc. That allowed us to evaluate asset level opportunities very quickly and efficiently. We didn't have to get up the learning curve. We knew the people, we knew the assets, and that's where experience helps.
I jokingly said you came out of nowhere, but tell us a little bit about ATHA's journey and why investors should be interested.
Why ATHA? We are built for this cycle. We are built to be doing what we're doing right now. And that is grow a substantial and a sizable company at this stage in the uranium market. We have a tight structure where there's advantages of the newness, and part of that is the structure of the company, and we know where the stock's held, we know where it's going, we know whose hands it's in, and we expect to be able to perform very well when we start executing on the work that we have planned in 2024.
Well, Troy, that brings us to the end of our time together, and I want to thank you again for letting us learn a little bit more about you and ATHA, and I really enjoyed our time. Thank you again.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. Enjoyed our time.